Hey guys, how you doing? What's going on? Welcome to another video where we are going to be checking out this pretty cool and awesome Neca Friday the 13th 2009 remake Ultimate Jason Voorhees action figure. The review. And it's obviously, so I've got it on eBay for just £20. And I think it is a knockoff, but it seems to be a very, very good one. If it's, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is because it's quite cheap. Usually they're more expensive, but it's a very good knockoff. A lot of the knockoffs now seem to be quite good ones compared to. I think there was a few knockoffs going around before that are really rubbish. But these knockoffs that are coming out lately, there's a lot of them, are very good quality ones, better than the old ones. Yeah, very, very good. And it's hard to identify what's good and which one's real and which one's fake. But yeah, so yeah, the 2009 remake of Friday the 13th is kind of a remake of I say it's a remake of the second one. Because it's not a remake of the first one, because the first one doesn't involve Jason, it only involves Jason's mum. So it's a remake of pretty much the second movie, where he has a bag over his head for pretty much most of the movie, or actually all the movie, to be honest. But then they kind of sort of changed it where he does have, so he has a bag over his head, then he has a mask. So it's kind of like it's got kind of a remake of two, but done differently, obviously. And then he gets a mask instead of the bag over his head. But yeah, but I'd say it's kind of to me, it's a remake of the second one because that's the one where he has a bag over his head. But anyway, it's the remake of the 2009 version, which is a very, very good remake. It's actually one of the better horror remakes or redone versions of a horror movie. A lot of the remakes they're done for Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger wasn't really that great. It was all right here and there, but not great. But this was one of the very, very good remakes. Actually, I think it's a pretty decent horror film in general, and actually probably one of my better horror films that there is. Yeah, it's a very, very good remake. Uh, yeah, so this is the figure from that. So you see, that's the top of the lid there. With Jason, pretty good image there. And then the cover there. I want a Jason there. Some images there. There's a bit of description there. And then images of the figure. Jason there, another image. You get a bit of a sort of diorama, backdraft, whatever you want to call it. There, I think it's kind of a bit of the forest. Sort of, I think it may be the bit where sort of Jason is hiding out. You know, that sort of den or whether it's underground or whatever. I think it's part of that, but I'm not too sure. But yeah. Yeah, pretty good. But his figure, it looks pretty decent. I wouldn't say this is the best version of him, considering all the sort of the original, the old ones. You know, I don't think it's one of the best. It's one of the best remakes, but I don't think it's his best look. I prefer these sort of the old ones from the 80s and 90s. But yeah, there's the mask, and he's got the hair going on, sort of long hair, very different to a lot of the other ones. And then obviously the iconic hockey mask, and then obviously underneath you've got what he looks like, because obviously he's been deformed after his terrible accident he had when he was younger. you have to really feel for Jason. Really, I know he turned into a killer, but you know he did have a really bad childhood. You know, all those kids. You know, that's the made up story of Jason when all the other kids. Uh, you know, he was drowning and they let him drown, and then obviously he supposedly had died. You know, it was pretty tragic, really. You know, he didn't have the best childhood. You know, so you know, it's kind of in a way you don't blame him for going on a sort of killing rampage. You know, because people did drive him to that. You know, not saying that not saying it's the right way to do it, but you know, as you said, you can't blame him. You know, the way that he was treated when he was younger, you know, was not very nice. And you know, you got to really feel sorry for him when he was a kid, having to go through that and drowning. But yeah, it's the figure itself, whether it's a knockoff or not, it looks pretty nice. As I said, it's a pretty decent knockoff if it is. And then with the mask on there, so pretty nice. The body, pretty nice there. Side view and then the back. Pretty nice. Let's see the legs. So it's quite basic paint job on the figure. It's just like black with a few details, but not nothing crazy going on. I think the articulation is pretty much I think it might be the same as other Neca Jasons. Not too sure. Let's see, left and right, up and down. Anything on the body? Not sure if there's anything there. I think it's a bit of movement, maybe side to side, but not too much. Got a joint on the elbow. Bit of rotation on the hand. They go a bit upwards. Obviously up and down. Legs. Go forward and back a bit. Side. A little bit there. But a little bit of restriction with the crotch area. But you know, you're never going to get Jason in those type of positions anyway. Just doesn't happen, does it? But you know, if you want to know, there is articulation, but there's a bit there. Joint on the knee, but yeah, it doesn't really move, even though this sort of is. But again, you know, the legs are going to be straight, aren't they, most of the time with Jason? He doesn't even throw any kicks and stuff, does he, really? I think there's a bit of movement on the joint, but not too much. Yeah, but pretty straightforward, I think. Right, accessories. We get the bag over the head sculpt, which is pretty decent. And I think one of the more terrifying Jason looks. I know it's pretty much, you know, the iconic look of the hockey mask. But when you look at these, the bag over the head is pretty terrifying. I mean, you know, if you was in the forest and someone, you know, tried to attack you with a bag over the head, you'd crap yourself, wouldn't you? Like, you know, you'd think, oh God, you know, I think to me that's more seemed to be more realistic situation than someone with a hockey mask, maybe. But yeah, whatever way you look at it. Yeah, so I think that's more of a realistic, terrifying look to Jason. Then the second movie seems to be more, yeah, just it's like someone, yeah, it's chasing after you with a bag over your head, like coming at you like that. You know, you think, damn. But yeah, it's pretty decent. Uh, so that's pretty good. Then we've got a spare hand. Only one spare hand with this figure. You'd think that usually there's a couple. I don't know if it's maybe because it's a knockoff that there's only one hand, or if it's supposed to be one hand. Usually there's a few because sometimes you need different You need to change different hands to fit certain weapons because some weapons don't fit in all the hands. Sometimes you need to change them to hold various different weapons. But for this, they thought maybe they just thought one hand. But anyway, you get one spare hand. You get his iconic machete. He has in pretty much all the films. I think this one looks like it's slightly longer. I'm not sure if that's movie accurate or if it's supposed to be longer, but it's kind of. I think the other one's shorter. That seems a lot longer. But yeah, he pretty much has that in pretty much all the films. Then we've got a pitchfork, I believe. I can't remember what weapons he uses in this. I've seen 2009 Remake a few times, but I can't remember the other weapons that he uses. I know he uses machete a few times, but I'm trying to think what other weapons he uses. I think he uses a crossbow in it. I think, or he uses a spear gun, I believe. You don't get that. I'm pretty sure he does use a spear gun. Yeah, but I can't think of what other weapons he does use. I know he uses machete load. Pitchfork. He may use that at the beginning of the movie because there's a scene where it starts off where he kills some people like that in a campfire, and he may have used that. I can't remember though. There's a short-handed axe. Again, I guess he must use it, but I can't remember when he did use it. Then there's sort of an ice pick type hammer, I believe it is. It's not a regular hammer, it's sort of a one. But it's the kind of one that sort of rock climbers use, isn't it? The one that they use to, whack against the side of a mountain or something when they're climbing up. Is that right? I think it's right because it's not standard hammer. Yeah, it's like a kind of tool, whatever you want to call it. Then we've got screwdriver, and again, I don't remember. I just can't remember him using that in the film. I know he must do, but yeah, I just can't remember who he takes out or whatever when he uses that. Might have to watch 2009 remake again to see which weapons he uses. But to be honest, I just can't remember. I know he uses a machete in the movie, but yeah, I just can't remember what. It's hard to sort of because I know a lot of the other films, he uses various different weapons throughout the movies. The main thing he uses is a machete, but he uses different things: axes, hammers, spear guns, all sorts. So it's kind of trying to remember all the different things he uses. But yeah, I just can't remember each time what he uses. As I said, might have to watch that again to see what he uses. But yeah, it's I'd say it's quite a decent array of weapons with this figure. It might be not one of the most we've had, but it's all right. 5 weapons is a fairly decent amount, and then the bag over his head. So that's fairly decent. Let's see what he looks like. We already saw him with holding the knife, the machete, which is probably going to be a weapon I'll probably give him Yeah, as I said, it's a really long machete. As I said, a lot longer than the usual one. I'm pretty sure the other ones are usually shorter. This is a lot longer. So I think it is quite long. I think it is longer in this film. But as I said, again, I just can't remember. Let's do. Let's see what it looks like with a bag over it. If I can change a head sculpt, because some of these head sculpts on the Neca figures are very difficult to get off. Right, I managed to get that off. Let's see what it looks like with a bag over his head. Yeah. Yeah, it's very difficult to get on some of these Neca figures, the head sculpts. Let's see what it looks like with the bag over his head holding the axe. So, again, holding the axe. I don't know, that actually even looks right. And it's not on. I've just literally popped it on, but it does go on a bit. I'm not sure if that might have to go in and be tucked under his shirt to make it sort of look more better, because that sort of doesn't really look right. But that's how we would kind of look with the bag over his head and holding the axe. So again, couple of different looks. Yeah, so it's a pretty decent figure. I wasn't going to get this figure originally. I only really wanted to get the Jason figures that were mainly from the original films from the 80s, 90s. I didn't really want to get the newer versions, but recently there was not really many figures to go at currently at this stage. I'd sort of caught up with some of the stuff, the newer stuff that released, but there's a lot of stuff that's out that I'm not able to get, and some stuff is not released till later on in the year. So I was sort of in a stage where there was not really much to go at, so I was sort of looking for other figures, stuff that had already been out previously. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of this month or next month as regards to figures. Might be a sort of stalemate situation where I might have to think of other things. I might have to buy some statues maybe, or some busts. If there's no figures to buy, because I'm not going to just buy figures just for the sake of it. I want to get stuff that I do collect, and stuff that goes within the collection. I don't want to sort of drift off and get other stuff that doesn't fit in. So may even be at the stage where there may be a break from doing the figures. I don't really know, because it depends what's sort of out, what's available. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is pretty good figure. Yeah, really good. So guys, I think that's going to be it for this review. I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more vids. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, bye for now. See you soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.